everyone. In this video, I will show you how to set up Gitpod environment for Text2SQL project. So this is the link to the project. If you go to this link, you will see all the project files that are there. Now if you scroll down, there is a quick start guide. If I click on this, it will show you this contribution.md file, which shows all the steps that needs to be done to set up Gitpod. Now if I click on this, open in Gitpod, it will set up a workspace for me. Now I will click on continue. So basically this will open up a workspace where all the Docker containers will be set up. It will take just few seconds. So as you can see, these are all the services that are running as a Docker container. Now I will open up the contribution.md that I just showed you, and I will so the first step is completed. All the services have been set up. Now I will open up the .env file, and we need to replace this with our open API key. Now if you go to this link, you can sign up for a new account and you can create your own API key. I have already created that, so I will just replace it. I have replaced the open API key with my own API key. So I will close this file now. So we are done with the step 1, 2 and 3. Now we will go to step 4. So for that I need to go to ports, and I have to make 8084 port public. So I will click on here and it will make the port public. Now I will go back to the terminal for step 5 and will start a new terminal. So I will open this file for this next step. So this is the shell script which will install all the dependencies that are required for the project. So I will just copy this file and will execute this. I will type in Y for yes. And what this will do is this will install all the dependencies that are there in this requirement.txt file, and we have another requirements file inside source, server and SQL graph. So now that all the dependencies are installed, I will try to start the server. But before that, if the step 6 doesn't work for you, or if it complains about some of the dependencies not being installed, I would suggest execute the shell script again and it would work fine. So I will start a new terminal. I will just copy this command, and now my server has started. So if I go to ports, you will see port 5078, and this is the URL on which I will be able to access the server. Now in step 7 I have to make this public, so I will click on here again and this will make this URL public. Now making this URL public basically means now you no longer need authentication token to access this URL on Gitpod. Now you can hit this URL and you should be able to use it. Now for step 8, we will try to push a dummy data. So basically what this script will do is it will create dummy data and will push it to a database. So it will complete one flow of onboarding a database, pushing the data, so that you should be able to see the data as well as the queries in step 12. So what I will do is, on step 8 we have to go to this location, open up this file, and we have to replace the API endpoint. So I will quickly go to source, server, db mock data, and I will open up this shell script. So we have to replace this endpoint with the address that we have in this. So I'll just click on copy. I'll replace this part. Okay, so now we have the onboard API. Now what I will do is I'll go back to terminal. I will go back to contribution.md and we'll go to step 9. Now on step 9 what it says is, suppose you want a smaller data set for testing purposes. So if you go to education_data.py file, and if you scroll down you will see a function generate school data. So this this function will create school data, and subsequently all the other details are created, or all the other data is created based on this data. So if I make it 5, this will run quicker. So I will start a new terminal and contribution.md. So we have completed step 9. Now I will execute the commands on step 10. So first we need to go to this directory. Now I will run this script. Now this will take some time, but during that time I just want to show you something. So if you go to schema_id.txt, you will see a schema ID. Now remember this, we will require the schema ID in our step 12, where we will have to paste it in the JSON data that we will be sending to the server. So I will resume the recording once the shell script is complete. Execution of script is completed. As you can see, the logs show that the data insertion has been completed for this table. So I will just quickly take you through the SQL file that we are using to push the dummy data. So this is my SQL file, and the last log shows that data has been inserted completely for midday meal. So you can see the table and the schema here. So if I go back to contribution.md, we have completed till step 10. So now I will go to this schema_id.txt and I will copy the schema ID, and we will go to step 12. So in step 12 we will have to update this curl request. So I have copied it already here. Now what I will do is I will replace the schema ID with whatever I got in my file, and this URL you have to fill it with wherever the 5078 port is running. So this is the address for that. I will go to this port and I will copy the URL. Now I will go here and I will replace it. Good. So now that I have replaced the URL, I will simply copy this and will paste it in my terminal to see if everything is working fine or not. So as you can see, I have perfectly set up everything, and for my prompt, which is fetch details of all the schools, it is giving me query. So the query is here, and the query data shows all the data that has been fetched from the database. So I hope this video helps in setting up Gitpod. Thank you.